I don't wanna play no games, but the way you're kissing on me made me scream your name. Just got off my 9 to 5, bubble bath, bottle time. Blindfold on, I'm waiting like, no truth, just stare. Dare to be naughty. Nikki's on repeat, telling me dare to be naughty, naughty. Dare to be naughty.
Hi, guys, and welcome back to Dare to Be Naughty Sex Talk. You guys know where you are, and it's your girl, Nikki June. So, I did promise you guys that we were going to definitely get more into the educational parts of kinks, fetishes, the lifestyle, all of that. And with that being said, I am happy to announce my next guest. I'm going to let Mr. Adonis tell you a little bit about who he is and introduce himself.
How's everybody doing? My name is Adonis. I have a plethora of different things that I do, but everything falls under pleasure facilitator. So I'm a massage therapist, Reiki practitioner, tantric healer. Um, I enjoy all different modalities of having people just understand emotional awareness and understand that it's my belief that God is right here, right? And as long as we are working on this, we are staying more connected to spirit, and that leads us in the lives that we want to leave. And then I believe that pleasure is healing. That's how I coach and how I try to keep my clients into their pleasure, not just sex, but everything about life. You can find me at Relax with Adonis. That's my massage therapy IG. And that's about it.
Okay, well, that's awesome. So let's get a little bit into what you said. You said you are a service.
So I am not I don't know that if I was a service anything, it would be a pleasure service provider. So I don't know that I am a service kink person. Now, as an intimacy coach, as an intimacy coach, I do offer kink experiences, right?
Okay.
If I was going to be a service, it would be a service top, right? When I give kink experiences, what I like to do is I feel that a lot of times when women are exploring kink, they only get to do it in the confines of a relationship.
Yes.
And a lot of times you're also trying to cater to someone's ego, or you're trying to keep your relationship intact when you're exploring these things. And I don't know that women have experienced exploring kink fully, from a sense of I can say and do what I want, I can say and do what I don't want.
Right. Understandable. That's okay. That's that I get. So, with you being a coach,
Mm-hmm.
you did say that you're a relationship coach.
Yes.
What does that entail for people who are possibly looking to explore finding someone to not necessarily a therapist but a coach, because there is a difference,
There's a difference. There's a difference.
right?
So ask the question again so I can make sure I
So
answer it.
well, let's start with the difference. What, because people who are in couples and need the assistance, they
Mm-hmm.
think that coaching and therapy are the same.
Okay. I
In my
think that,
So I
yeah.
would like you to give us like a little short definition difference of what you do compared to that, like as a coach.
Coach. Yes. So as a coach, I'm not a clinician, right? It's not a license that I have to say, but I also believe as a coach and a sexologist, I am here to truly help you be better. It isn't my goal to do a year's worth of therapy, not just listen, right? But assign homework, assign practices, right? The goal is that you're not coming to me, that you're moving forward what you came to me for, and in really the shortest amount of time, right? There can be an allotment of time, there can always be check ins, but we're saying 6 to 12 sessions. We should be feeling and seeing our progress. And I don't want to just listen. I want to push my clients that I'm coaching into their uncomfortable zone so that they can really evolve into their best form of themselves. So as a coach, I'm listening, I'm giving advice, and I'm giving practices like practical things that you can do, books you can listen to, and things that you can try doing in real life, and then come back and I'll listen to how they go and give more advice. So if the short answer is, I think coaches give very critical listening advice. Therapists listen and let you go at your own pace.
Got you. Okay. So I think that's beautiful because I have a fitness coach and I love the fact that he coaches me in a way in life that my fitness is always added to my lifestyle.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I love that that's the difference between having just a trainer.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I love the beauty in having a coach. I think that coaches are great in getting you that boost, that start of, hey, you know what I mean?
We gonna push you out. We
Hey,
gonna get you. We
hey,
go, yeah,
yeah,
right.
exactly.
Like,
I love that. I love
like
about it, and that's why I wanted you to give that definition, and that was beautiful. Thank you. So then, my next question for you would be, how can somebody benefit from having a relationship coach specifically? Um, in saying, it like, I want to be able to have that conversation with my husband. I want to
mm-hmm.
change things,
Yeah.
whether it is the way we do things financially or sexually. I
Mm-hmm.
want that. How would you give that advice to someone to be able to have that conversation? Because it may not be able to work. It hasn't been working, and I want to have that conversation. So how can I have
Um, so when it comes to relationship coaching with couples, right? It is a bit different when you are doing it as a single person. So like if I'm just coaching a person, right? Then from my philosophy is now I'm coaching you on the things that are not external, right? I think that really benefits when you're in a relationship, understanding that consent, boundaries, and projection play a large role in the decline of a relationship, right?
that? Mm-hmm.
Because we want to blame, we want to find fault outside of us. And
Mm-hmm.
as an individual, it's much easier when you're not in a relationship to just focus on you, right? What's going on inside of me? Emotional awareness to me isn't about just understanding your emotions, but understanding that your emotions come from emotions that are stuck in you. Everything outside of you are just triggering those things to come up so that you can express them. And that is one of the downsides of being in an intimate relationship with someone. Intimacy and pleasure will bring up lower vibrating emotions because your body is saying, well, I feel good. There's this shit in me. I don't want it in me. We're going to get it out. When you're in a
Right.
relationship, though, it is hard to not blame your partner for what you're feeling. And then it's hard for your partner to not feel that they have a role in what you were feeling as well. And so as a relationship coach, I believe being 100% accountable for what is going on in your head
Mm-hmm.
is how you make progress with your partner. The problem is when you have a partner, both people have to be doing it. A great book that I love is Conscious Loving, and it's understanding where you can be in codependence,
Mm-hmm.
co-commitment, and then co-creativity. And when you're in codependence, it really is, I am going to allow these negative things
Mm-hmm.
that you do to continue to happen because I want you to come to me to fix them, right?
I
And
want
it keeps
each person to feel like to fix whatever my problem is. So I always find somebody that's going to be that
that
fix it.
fix it, and vice versa, right? This
Yeah.
person doesn't hold me accountable, so we can stay dependent on each other right here.
Yeah.
When we're co-committed, then we're committed to saying, regardless of the outcome of the relationship, I want you to be your best version of you and me to be my best version of me. And then now you start to just accept responsibility, tell the microscopic truth, really be honest when you're not feeling a certain way or when you are feeling a certain way, and have a partner to not feel that it's their responsibility but just hold space for listening to what you're going through.
So
And
nice.
And so usually with couples,
Yeah.
it's about helping each of them see their own triggers and work on themselves, as opposed to saying that my partner needs to help me do this. So I'm the one that holds space for what you're feeling, so you don't project it on your partner, because that just spirals people down.
So then here's my next question, because I have found personally, and yes, this is a safe space, especially for
Okay.
myself. I have found personally that growth within myself has changed relationships that I've been in.
Yeah.
Whether it be a relationship or a friendship,
Yeah, they're all ships.
they're all the ships.
All the ships.
Since we're going to be sticking on the relationship part, how is it that you can be married? Because I've never been married, so it's
Okay.
been easier as someone dating, that
Mm-hmm.
when you find that growth and it doesn't work, it's easier to just cut and move forward. But in a marriage, there's always growth in someone's life. We're
Mm-hmm. We're all evolving.
always evolving. We can respect that part. So, with that being said, 10 years from now, I'm not going to be the same person. And my husband's not going to be that same person. How do we still find each other within finding ourselves?
So I think it's a two-part thing, right? First, it's taking on the accountability of yourself.
Mm,
We're good, saying, I'm going to work on myself, you're going to work on yourself, and then we come together. The other part is really being co-committed to understanding, I want you to be the best version of yourself, however that evolves. Like you said, in 10 years, we want to be different people. We don't want to be at the same place that we are, right?
exactly.
So
Yes.
I'm going to let you grow. I'm not going to be attached to an outcome. And that's usually what happens in relationships when you're seeing it decline. We have attached to what we think the relationship should be. And so then when it doesn't happen that way, disappointment comes up, you know, and we try to hold on to what we think should happen. Change, we don't get to control change. There are four key things that I believe that we don't get to control. We don't get to control the past. We don't
Facts.
get to control the future.
Absolutely.
We do not get to control what other people think about us.
Exactly.
And we don't get to control our feelings, but we do get to control our reaction to our feelings. And so once you let go of trying to control things you don't have control over,
Hmm.
where the relationship is going, how your partner evolves, right? You focus on just you. I believe universe and spirit will guide your partner who wants to remain your partner in a parallel walking together, right? And if relationships shift or transition, as I like to call them, then you have to appreciate what you had during that time together, right? And that transitioning to something different isn't a negative reflection of either person. It's just saying we needed to grow apart to
Yeah.
continue on our journey.
I
But
definitely agree with that. I believe that I believe in learning lessons after a relationship. Like I never say, I rarely regret things.
yes.
I do things with, a lot of times I try to do things with purpose. Some
Mm-hmm.
things happen, they're lessons learned, but I rarely try to regret things and try to find the lesson in things.
Yes.
And in a relationship, mostly, I love to always find that lesson. There, no one is ever perfect in a relationship. And I believe that every relationship is a growth moment, regardless
Yes.
of what it is and how long it is. So
Mm-hmm.
always find the growth in that, whether it was a positive growth or a negative growth, something that you could change in the next relationship, or even something that you learn that's a positive of you that you can amplify and learn more
Move
about.
forward.
Exactly, So
Mm-hmm.
I definitely agree with that, and I love the fact that you said
And
so.
and the beauty of marriage, right? A healthy one, is saying that we are going to be committed to understanding that both of us have a path to walk, and we're going to do it hand in hand, side by side, right? So the problem is, a lot of times when someone's doing their own growth, your partner doesn't want to walk with you, doesn't want to grow with you, right? And what happens is now I'm pulling my partner along.
Yeah,
So now I'm tired from pulling. I can't focus on me. as well as I could if we were walking together. And sooner or later, that is draining to the other person, right?
Yeah,
It's like we're getting held back because I'm picking you up. You haven't learned how to fail and get up on your own. You
yeah,
haven't learned how to fail.
comes, yeah,
Yeah,
animosity comes and anger, and then the relationship starts to get the turmoil. And that's exactly why I asked that, because growth can be, as much as people may not say it,
it's
they'll
uncomfortable.
always have an excuse on why the relationship didn't work, but at the end of the day it's because of growth. Like, you got somewhere that they weren't ready to be, and they were holding you back, and you just had to let it go. You live, you learn, you love. you
No,
know
that's it. And you give them grace, right? You understand that they're doing the best they can with the person that they are and the information that they have right now. And you
exactly.
love them for that, right? But that doesn't mean that they deserve or should be allowed to pull you down. And
Exactly.
that is really tough, right? But I believe being accountable and being aware is how you can sit and say, I'm not going to be responsible for your emotions. Your emotions. I'm going to be responsible for mine. And if one of mine come up, I'm not going to push it onto you. I'm going to understand that it's coming up because of something I didn't deal with in my past.
What you didn't realize. That's that. See, we're learning stuff, guys. This is a cool moment. I don't get the opportunity to talk much about relationships, and this is a beautiful learning experience. And I hope that you guys get into his DM, because you can definitely learn more. Anybody in a relationship who wants to learn more needs to. My next question would
Mhm.
have to be along polyamorous relationships.
Okay.
Definitely feel like you have gotten um I definitely feel like you've gotten those moments.
I,
You
I
Yeah.
I'm getting continuously. It doesn't stop. I will say. So let's say I ethically non-monogamous relationships,
Okay.
right? So I'm not a big fan of the term poly,
Okay.
because that's such a big diaspora of how you love and how you interact and how you are sexually, right? But I think ethical non-monogamous relationships is what I something I specialize in. The toughest part about them is you are signing up for continuous evolution and self-awareness. Like, it doesn't stop when you're polyamorous because, like we said, relationships are what give you evolution. It's what triggers evolution. Well, when you're loving polyamorous or you're in multiple relationships, you're getting multiple times to learn about yourself, and you're giving other people multiple opportunities to learn about themselves, right? And so, and when you're opening your relationship, you're going to be triggered or feel emotions, right? Over and over and over again. In monogamy, you can sweep some of these safety things under the rug that don't let you deal with what's going on inside of you. In polyamory, ethical non-monogamy, you're not sweeping anything under the rug. You're going to hear when attitudes change. You're going to feel when energies shift, right? You're going to have to live through understanding that we're not always going to be at this high, and decide that this is what we are going to do continuously. And you have to also be willing to let people go when they don't really want to either be in a polyamorous relationship, do the work for polyamorous, or support the purpose that you have or the purpose they have, so that our relationship is beneficial regardless of the outcome.
Yeah, I get that. Because I also wanted to ask while you were talking, there was something you were saying, and my question to one of your points were, when in a monogamous relationship, I've never been in a poly one, when getting out of it, you also change, right? You
Mm,
also become a different person. Even within that relationship, you adapt to
yes.
certain things. So, like, is it not difficult to find yourself by adapting to numerous people at one time?
So honestly, it's the reverse, right? Difficult is your mindset. It is it's going to be difficult regardless to find yourself,
Right.
right? Because in a monogamous relationship, you're not tested as often. So you don't find yourself, you find who you need to be for your partner,
Yeah.
right? But in polyamorous relationships, you do. You're pushed to find yourself and establish yourself, love yourself, affirm yourself. That's one of the biggest things that I've come across in non-monogamous dating is I find that people want me to affirm them, to make them feel like they belong or they are special. And honestly, until you feel you are, it doesn't matter what I say. Everything that I say is going to be temporary. I'm just going to affirm you in this moment, but you're not going to do the work to affirm yourself. So you're going to get triggered again and
Right.
again and again. And it's going to be very easy to blame what you're feeling onto me because my actions are bringing something up inside of you. But the only reason it's bringing it up is because it's inside of you. And in non-monogamy, awareness is almost, it is crucial to having a positive experience in ethical non-monogamy. Like to be able to not only be aware of your emotions, right, but be aware of your partners, but
Others.
then bring them up with grace, bring them up in your divine feminine, and that's regardless of your gender, right? But
Right.
not attack someone because you felt they made you feel a certain way or they reacted to you a certain way, but just to say, hey, it feels like you're upset.
Yeah.
It feels like something's going on and you're not telling me, right? And not react to them, but really hold space and stay like at a plateau emotionally for whatever their reaction, low or high, is going to be.
I think that is the biggest thing in a relationship, communication, and communicating, not just having communication, but communicating about your feelings, your emotions in a proper manner is how things get done better. Because I know that in one of my relationships, that was the biggest thing. I always said communication to me is important.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't just talking, let's sit down and talk
And
about
have a conversation. Yeah.
I'm talking like when you're upset at me, don't yell at me. Don't scream at me. Communicate it with me. Nikki, you did this. I need you to understand that it pissed me off. I'm upset. You can't do it again. Let's talk about it. Let's get to that understanding that I know what my actions were that upset you so we can work on it. You yelling at me is not going to make anything
It is tough, right? I understand that emotions, when you're speaking out of emotions, they can get heightened. But even like you said, it's also understanding I got upset, right? Anger is showing a boundary that you have that's being crossed.
better. Hmm.
But if you're not self-aware and wanting to say I got angry, what boundary was being crossed? They didn't purposely do it, right? Hopefully there's love in the relationship so you can give grace and say that they're not purposely doing it, but my subconscious needed me to feel this, so you're doing something to help me feel it. And it's really saying, all right, where did this anger come from? What really did they do that I feel triggered me? And so as a personal reflection, I've understand that questioning my integrity is a boundary for me. I really try to be very honest, right? I'm not always the most forthcoming because
Yeah,
conversations are difficult to have. But I know I
exactly.
don't lie about how I'm feeling, and I definitely don't lie about what I'm doing or what I said to manipulate the situation. So when my integrity is called into question, or you say, "Well, I thought you meant this." Nope, I said this, right? Or feeling like I was saying something different or questioning what I said in the first place really is disappointing. Or saying like you feel like, well, I didn't know if you, then you're not trusting me,
Right.
right?
Right.
That's why I'm angry, because you're not trusting me. But once you understand that, and then you start to work on trusting yourself. And I've had to reaffirm, no, 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 I'm a good person.
Mhm.
I'm a good father, right? So when someone else questions you, you don't have to prove. Because if you're trying to prove, then there's a disbelief that you are,
Having yourself.
right? But
Yeah.
that's the work that you have to do in non-monogamy for it to be ethical. Is to say, what am I not doing? What am I allowing in this relationship that makes me feel uncomfortable? And understand that uncomfortables are the way that we evolve. Most of the time, if we're comfortable, we're sitting in a comfortable hell,
Yeah.
right? We don't want to push the boundaries because
Boundaries
I don't want to, I just want to be here. It feels good to me right here. So we
yeah.
just stuck, right?
Hmm.
And I've learned that in my dating, I've had to tell people, look, if you want to date me, we're going to get uncomfortables over and over and over because that is who I am as a healer. I want my uncomfortables to come because I know that this how I push myself to be a better man. But when you accept your uncomfortables and I don't push them onto my partner, then
Yeah.
I don't have to blame them for making me feel uncomfortable.
Way.
But that's what happens in relationships. We intimate, we're close. We feel that our feelings are their responsibility,
And it's not.
and it's not.
I'm learning that. I'm going to be honest with you. Me being single now, I'm learning a lot of the things that I did wrong in relationships, and I'm reflecting on me. And that's something that I never did in the past with relationships. And now that I'm doing that, I'm realizing what I could have done so much better and probably would have been different outcomes in different relationships because I didn't take that moment to say, hey, Nikki, you're doing something
Doing this.
and it's a boundary that you're not acknowledging. You could have stepped, you could have dealt with this in a different manner, deal with your emotions. And also even understanding on the opposite side of saying, there were narcissists around you that you didn't acknowledge because you weren't dealing with your own emotions and allowing boundaries to be broken numerous times, right? So these are great opportunities that I'm learning by myself being single. So I can only imagine how beautiful of a bond it could make
Oh, I
in a relationship once you've come to that understanding and how beautiful that can be.
I think so. I'm continuously working toward it, and it is very difficult because we have a lot of trauma and triggers because in our culture as children, we're not allowed to express our emotions fully,
Mm-mm.
right? We're not allowed to be angry at our caregivers at all.
No,
You can't even express anger, right?
you're not.
Without getting in trouble.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to feel grief and sadness without being shamed for it.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't even be too happy for too long
Yeah.
without told to sit the fuck down.
Yeah. And as a little boy, you can't cry.
You
There's no
can't cry, and you can't play too much.
You can't play too much. And it was crazy because I was with a few friends and their kids, and we were having this conversation in our culture. And he was like, I my son who's 2 went to go kiss me on my lips, and I was like, nah, you can't do that. And I was like, that's crazy because he's still a little boy and he has no knowledge. He just wants to show affection, and you need to show it back, you know
That this is why I think intimacy coaching is so important to couples, right? We have not, especially in our culture, because of slavery and because of the American way,
Yep.
we have sexualized intimacy and
Yes.
we don't know the difference. Like we are more comfortable exchanging sexual energy with someone than just being intimate and not feeling like it's something sexual about it. Like
Yeah.
you said, it's a 2-year old boy. Did you want to do something with the 2-year old boy? No, you didn't. So him kissing you on the lips doesn't. That's not a sexual advance. It's not incorrect.
That is your
It's just
that is
affection.
your son trying to give you affection.
Affection. That's it.
You know, it's crazy. And my uncle, he's like he gave his son affection. Like even when by the time he was like 16, he was still hugging him and giving him kisses and loving on him. And it's like watching their bond now. My cousin is such a wholesome young man. You know what I mean? His father always encouraged affection that
Mm-hmm.
is 100% wholesome. He is respectful. He's strong. He does what he needs to do. And I love the fact that I had the opportunity to see that in my culture because you don't see it
It
often.
is a rarity, but it is good. I think we're just becoming more aware, right? And we understand that the reason that we see sexual in affection is because that is what most of us have experienced at one point in time. I don't know a black woman that has not been sexually assaulted. And I know a lot of black women,
Yeah, it's true.
right?
It's
Not
true.
saying that they've been, beat up